Hey everybody, it's Mary Z here. I'm going live on both Facebook and YouTube right now to unbox this microphone I got. But I thought it would be nice if you guys wanted to hang out with me and do that. And I'm going to open up this Rode microphone that I got. It's a K2 and I don't do a lot of live stuff, so I thought this would be a great opportunity for you guys to ask me some vocal questions if you want to. So I'm really stoked about that, and I can't wait to hear some of your vocal questions, guys. Yeah, I want you to be able to ask any questions that you have today about vocal stuff that maybe you always wanted to ask, but you know I haven't gotten to yet on YouTube. It would be great if you put them in the chat window here. Oh, hi. There's a few people already. Hello. See, I feel like, so I'm streaming to Facebook here and YouTube here. So if you see me look down, it's also so I can see your chat and your questions and everything. Yes. This is so great. Hello. Hi, Facebook, everybody. Facebook people, I feel like, actually, you guys are probably going to be less involved than the YouTube folks. The YouTube audience are pretty active. But everybody, I'm here, vocal instructor Mary Z, and I'm unboxing this microphone. So I have my little hat on because it's summertime and having a hat is good. So yay! Well, I can't wait to open this microphone and see everything that's in here. Let's see. Oh, someone said I might need a mount for this. It's really heavy. I know, this is a big microphone. The box is enormous. We're going to see, it comes in a big case, so we're going to check it out and see what's going on there. So our first question is, I do the same exercises 6 days a week, and sometimes I get the frog voice. What's the deal? The frog voice is tension in your larynx. It might be too much vocalizing, or you might be getting tension in the muscles that connect your hyoid bone to your larynx. So you need to try doing, I have a video on the water bottle and straw exercise. This can get rid of your tension dysphonia, is what that's called usually. It's usually mild in that case, which is a little frogginess, but frogginess is this. So, and if you're not supporting with your air, that might also be a problem that might make you a little bit froggy. So that's crazy, I know. Let's see if I can start getting this open. Someone says YouTube people are better. I don't really know if any of you guys are better, but I just feel like on Facebook it doesn't really cut through the algorithm. But Facebook folks, feel free to ask your questions too. I'm going to start opening up this microphone box here. Big shout out to my homies at Rode microphones, because they have been really cool about sending me stuff. This is also a Rode microphone for my Facebook folks. You're hearing me through the Procaster. For my YouTube folks, you're actually hearing me through the Shure MV88. It's a stereo microphone that's attached to my phone. So I'm doing 2 streams at once here. Oh yes, oh no, someone mentioned my pink. Check this out. But this is the only pink shirt that I own, but I guess you can't see it. It's a Golden Girls shirt. Stay golden. That's what it says. So that's why I'm wearing. Charlie says, "Why are you wearing pink?" But I'm not actually wearing pink for any other reason than if I could get this badass Golden Girls shirt in black, I would have it in black, but it only came in hot pink. Thank you for being a friend. You know, so it's really awesome to me though. I love the Golden Girls. Who else loves the Golden Girls? Come on now. Let's see. Now my next question, while I'm opening this up, says, how come some people have a deeper sounding low for ice cream than others? This is a really good question. And I talk about this a lot in my lessons. It has to do with the shape techniques you use to do your low fries, first of all, with your tongue shape in your mouth. Some people just aren't getting low enough ones because they don't know it. But the other thing is larynx size. This is why a lot of women with really deep screams, not all, we looked at Som from Cerebral Bore in one of my videos, so we know that some women are doing the low fry. But in general, you know, a man's larynx and hyoid bone are about 7 to 10 millimeters longer than a woman's. And so within men themselves too, that can vary as well. So like your larynx could be 2 millimeters shorter than Phil Bozeman's larynx or something like that. And so not everyone can have the same sounding. These are voiceless screams. Or if someone's like exceptionally big, like a woman who's like Brienne of Tarth, I don't know. Someone like that is going to have a very bigger, more resonant lower fry, even if they do the same stuff. But I'll tell you what, the audience only knows like all the stuff relative to you. They actually don't know, they're not gonna be like directly comparing your fry to someone else's probably, unless you're doing like a vocal duet or something. So don't worry too much about that. Like your low fry will be low enough if you've learned all the low techniques. Even if you're a female or your larynx isn't big, maybe like pound for pound. Like, so if I put my low fry right next to Phil Bozeman, who's got a very big Adam's apple, or Alex Terrible, it won't be as low as theirs. But if I do it by myself, I don't think anybody notices that it's not as low. And if you really aren't happy with your low fries, you could always switch to false chord. That's what a lot of women with low screams are already doing. So anybody could do that. And of course, those will also sound deeper in someone that's bigger, either in the body or the larynx. This box is hard to open, you guys. What's up, Balmore? Hey. Thank you for being a friend. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, there's someone asked if there's a project. My friend Brian from Sonic Clang. Yes, I'm going to do something cool with this microphone, but I'm not going to say what it is yet. So yeah, this is just for fun, this unboxing. And I don't know why. That's why I decided to ask questions, because otherwise this would be boring as hell. Like, I'm sitting here trying to get this cardboard out. Next question on YouTube is, what do you think is more important, the melody being sang or the voice singing the melody? Oh, I think that they're equally important. And here's a couple different things. Sometimes the voice singing the melody is better, you know, it needs to match the melody. Like in classical, if you write a shitty melody, it doesn't matter if the most beautiful voice in the world sings it. It's going to suck. It's a shitty melody. It's like having a bad script. You can't act when your dialogue is just garbage, right? So it is the same. However, you could have beautiful melodies that are sung by crustier voices that like a Bob Dylan or something, or Jimmy Durante, or someone who's really more of a stylist. And people seem to like that all right. So if you have a good melody, you can kind of get away with having a shittier voice, I think. All right. Gonna open this bad boy. Oh boy. Oh my God. It's so heavy. Okay. Okay, now we're here. Let's see. No, 26. Oh, come on. Someone says, is it too late to scream at 26? That is very young still. Please realize that I actually couldn't fry scream at 26. I could false chord scream, but I could not fry scream. So I learned a little bit after that. So don't worry about that. You're totally fine. I teach people in their 50s to scream for the first time, if you can actually believe that. So do not, and definitely like a lot of people in their 30s who are doing it for the first time. So don't think that that matters. Like, honestly, being a little older is good because you're going to have some more impulse control, and you're going to have some more like practice to results ethics and stuff, and you'll be able to manage the risk better and the sounds better. Let's see here. What other, yeah, see, as I suspected, the YouTubers are giving me tons of questions. My Facebook people can't really see my golden girls. There she is. But this is also like an extra large. The only size they had. Not only was it pink, which I don't ever wear, but the only size they had was extra large. But I had to have it. The golden girls must be mine. So, yes, that case is redonk. Ooh, My goodness, this is pretty. Wow, you guys see all this stuff? Holy cow, thank you. Big shout out to my homeboy, Jason, at Rode Microphones. Thank you, Jason, for hooking me up massively. This was actually supposed to come in a bigger package that they sent me earlier this year that included this, the Procaster, and a couple other things. But this is such an awesome and kind of one of their gems. They didn't have any available. What's cool is it came with a preamp for it, and I am so excited about that because I didn't know that this is I think this might be a tube microphone actually. Am I crazy in thinking that? It's a condenser microphone. Now I'm just gonna sing thank you for being a friend to you guys. Write it down. I wore a white shirt last week and now I'm wearing a pink shirt this week. The only ones I own. Everything else, if you look at my closet, is pretty much straight up black. So I don't know. But this is a really cool microphone. And yeah, this is great. That it's a beautiful condenser mic. And we get awesome sticker on the back, which I do. I love it. Have I ever tried distortion on harsh vocals? That's a YouTube question. What does that mean? Does that mean like an effect, a distorted effect? I have not. I don't like distorted effects on my harsh vocals if I do them on a record. And I have been on a couple of records, or one in particular I can think of where they added a lot of effects to it, and others where they didn't, and I really prefer them not to. I don't like it when you take a good harsh vocalist and you add a bunch of effects to it because it usually makes it sound muddy if the person is good at harsh vocals. So let's see. Okay, Justin is asking on Facebook, how do you get a client to become more confident with his or her vocals? He's got a great vocalist in the studio, but he has no confidence in his voice. When he's doing covers, he's great, but as soon as he starts recording him, he's not the best. Man, vocal confidence is just something that you have to come around to after years and years of hating your own voice. It's crazy, but I'm just sort of zen about it. If you can make people feel a little bit more comfortable and confident in the studio if you give them something to rely on a little bit. I do this just as a technique for recording anyway, but take like you could tune their vocals, not the actual ones you're gonna use on the record, but like pre-recorded ones, a take that they tried, and tune it like really hard, robotic melodyne tuning. And then what you do is have them sing to that or have them sing to a MIDI. Sometimes that can boost their confidence. But you know, you can't, this is the hard thing. When I give presentations to producers, I always tell them, you can't get inside their head and change that psychology. And unfortunately, there's nothing like you can do. There's nothing even I can do as a voice teacher to make people a little more confident, other than kind of just show them where they're kicking ass a lot. And when you show them where they need to improve, kind of do it in a very objective and constructive way. You want to eventually get vocalists. Vocalists are never really going to like what they do, but you want to get them eventually to come around and basically get zen and kind of look at it like objective. Like, is this resonant? Is this in tune? Does it sound like it's good quality placement? All of that kind of stuff. It's really hard though, and preparation will give people the most best confidence. So if someone's not confident in the studio, they're likely not as prepared as they could be, or they're just not as experienced, and you can't really make preparation or experience happen for someone. You know, they need to be practiced really well before they get in there, and it might take years of people to get the experience to become zen about their voice, to not hate it when they're in the studio and whatnot. All right, so let's take a look in this box here. I'm just giving my little coffin break. Okay, look at this. This is the microphone itself. You guys definitely always keep these moisture absorber packets in the box with the microphone, just like how it came when you store it. Especially if you live in a climate where there's any humidity for any part of the year at all. Because I have seen pictures of these from Jason, the guy who sent this to me, with this stuff rusted out because people did not keep these silica sort of absorption things. So keep those. Don't throw those out, and keep them when you store your mics. Made in Australia. That's right. These guys are Australian. My Australian accent's probably horrible and offensive, but whatever. They've got a good sense of humor. They can handle it. Look, it's pretty. This is very pretty. I love it. Very nice. Okay, well, I'm gonna put that back in the plastic. Oh, the person who asked me about, like, have I ever tried distorted effects on harsh vocals? They meant like guitar distortion. No, but I bet there's like industrial bands who have and stuff, and I'm sure it can sound cool with the right engineer and whatnot as an effect, you know. I don't think anything really replaces being able to scream. You really can't make tracks sound. I mean, you can overdrive it, you can clip it, you can do a lot to it, but I think like nothing really makes up for doing an actual scream and making most of the distortion yourself with your own tissues. Okay, so obviously then there's some really nice shock mount they sent with it. And it doesn't look like there's any pop filters, but the other stuff Rode has sent me this is a great kit here for this microphone, and I have several pop filters from them. That I will probably hook up to that shock mount, or just use one of these other mounts that they have that have it attached. This is just a power supply amp type thing. So check it out. There it is. That's really nice. Wow, this is so badass. I can't wait to use this. I'm going to demonstrate it in an actual song, you guys. So I have something really cool planned that I've actually been working on for a while now. And of course they always send like Rode always sends like really nice XLR cables in their kits. Every single one I've gotten has just been really nice and super high quality cables, and I've kind of switched them out for my old cables, which is really sweet. Okay, so more questions. Someone says, can you explain how to sing on YouTube? Someone saying, can you explain how to sing with support and how do you belt? Well, the thing is belting is where we're sending our voice. It sounds like it's going forward, basically. Hey, hey. But that is where your epiglottis is in what they call an epiglottal twang position. And it's the same way a lot of people speak, not all people, but most people. Hey, hey. And you can't control your epiglottis. So this is really hard to belt. I could not belt for a long part of my life, most of the early part of my singing, for at least a decade, from like 10 to 21 or 22. I wasn't doing much belting accurately, more like mixing and just opera singing and stuff. And it takes a lot of training, you know. If you want to learn how to belt, I've got a Belter Series playlist on the VoiceHacks channel on YouTube. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, for those of you that are on YouTube, you can just click the main channel page, playlists, boom, there it is. And you can get started. I talk to you about how to place it and how to get into it, and I have a few exercises. And I also, in regard to the support question, have a breathing from the diaphragm video. And I think that's really important to watch. I have like 3 videos about breathing on YouTube, and I think it's really important to watch those and learn how to support, just because it will answer your question faster than me explaining it now. But in general, what we're trying to do is kind of like use this as a reed, as a wind instrument, and you're powering your air from underneath your lungs. So we inhale, we expand, we displace the guts, and then you use your abdominal cavity to flex on those guts, which will push them inward, push it back against the lungs, and create air velocity. So it's really important to try to do that. So somebody said, When I do voice with distortion on high notes, it feels like my false chord. Is that unhealthy? No, not necessarily. We're going to be using a lot of the same tissues in different sounds. But if you feel like tons and tons of false chord flapping, it might be because you're doing falsetto with distortion. Different kinds of voice with distortion, have different amounts. But if I do a pretty big, hey, I can feel my false chords engage a little bit. Not as much as like my false chord scream, but they can be involved. So it doesn't necessarily, if what you want to avoid is vibrating your false chords instead of flapping them. Flapping them creates distortion. Hey, that's down here, but most of that grit was actually coming from my soft palate and things up here. But vibrating them is like the Louis Armstrong thing or the throat singer thing, one of the types of overtone singing. And you want to, hey, what a wonderful, thank you for being a friend. You want to avoid that, basically. Try to avoid that way. If you're feeling those type of false chord things, that won't actually make you hoarse, but you're going to find like when you go high and like other problems with that. So try to avoid that kind of false chord involvement if you can. Someone asked a question on YouTube about the K2 and if it will be used for singing or will it replace my SM7B? No. I keep the SM7B. I love Shure products. Like I said, one of the microphones, the people on YouTube are hearing me through the Shure MV88. The people on Facebook are hearing me through the Røde Procaster. And the reason is the Shure SM7 I keep because it's still great, even though I'm using these other things. So none of these are really better than the other. The K2 would not be a good replacement for the Shure. It's more comparable to this microphone, the Procaster. They're dynamic microphones, and they're more used for like harsh vocals and for speech. They have similar properties. This one is a condenser microphone, the K2, so it would not make a good substitute for an SM7. It's just a different color. Although I will be using it for singing and stuff on YouTube on this channel coming up. A lot of people really liked the Weird Stars and whatnot, so I'm going to do some more music and more music stuff on the channel as well, so you can hear a little bit more of the techniques that I talk about, not just from the artists we cover, but from everybody else. So, what's up, Facebook? I'm live right now simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook, so most of the comments and questions are coming from YouTube, but if any of you guys have vocal questions on Facebook, please feel free to answer. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a pink shirt, it's my Golden Girl shirt. It's hard to see on Facebook, but yeah, there we go. Now you can see it. Thank you for being a friend. But the other thing is, I have this microphone box that you can see on YouTube, but it's a little hard to see on Facebook. So here is the K2 again. Keep your thingies, everybody. And the mount that comes with it. They always include very nice shock mounts. If you guys ever buy any like these kits with the NT1A or anything like that from Rode, it's going to come with nice new XLRs, nice pop filters, a lot of little pieces and things. They really put some extra effort, but the reason I started using them was they just sound freaking awesome. Whenever I use this Procaster, everybody compliments it. And so, really it just comes down to, is it a good sound? Does it sound good? So, all right. Someone says I need a cloud lifter for my SM7B, and that's probably accurate. Depends on the amp that you have at home or the mic pre that you use, but some microphones like this can be very quiet, and you want to get like a little thing called a cloud lifter that you put in the line, in your XLR line there in your chain. It's going to boost it without you getting like from upping your gain super far and getting ambient noise and things like that. So, so someone asked, do you have any visualizations to assist with getting the false chords engaged? Sorry, I'm trying to get past the ice here. So, when you, what do we mean by getting the false chords engaged? Hopefully we mean flapping, not vibrating. It doesn't really hurt people to do like vibrations, the throat singing thing, but it is not false chord screaming. It's not singing with grit. It's not particularly distorted. True false chord screaming is going to be the vocal cords opening, not singing a pitch. And the false chords are going to flap. If you guys really want to see that happening, actually Lauren Hart from Once Humans got some great videos on YouTube from her doctor going to the endoscopy, and you can really see the false chords flapping in a pure, real false chord scream, and it's wonderful to look at. So Google that if you're interested in seeing that in action. But like, you know, to get the false chords flapping, there's no muscles you can concentrate on. Unfortunately, there isn't a visualization. You need to think about more abstract, impersonating the sound. And also watching my breathing from the diaphragm videos and trying to drive it with air. Air is the only thing that makes that flap around. So you have to use visualizations of the sound you're trying to make. Try to avoid like consciously manipulating your false chords. There's nothing that you can consciously think about to move them, to flap them around. It's only air that's going to do that. So it's very difficult. It's very abstract, and you have to start with like, you know, basically like loose imitations of familiar sounds and keep working them towards the full sound carefully, you know. And that's why I give lessons, because there's a lot of people who need help with that. You know, it's going to be tough for them. So what's up, Facebook? You guys are like so not doing much over there in Facebook land. But I blame the algorithms. This is why my YouTube folks are being a little bit more active. But those of you here in Facebook, you get to hear the answers to the YouTubers' questions, which is really great. So, and then this video is going to pop up on YouTube and Facebook after I'm done, so you can kind of review the answers. Guys, I'm only going to go. I've been going now for about 25 minutes, and we've opened up the K2. We've taken a look at it. I've answered a few questions. So I'm going to go until like 45 minutes, maybe 10 more minutes. You know what? Maybe I'll just go 10 more minutes. We'll go to 36. It's 26 now. How long I've been on the stream. So I'm going to go 10 more minutes with you guys. So if you have any more questions, get them in. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're new to the channel on YouTube, don't forget to give it a sub, because you'll get notified. If you already sub, click the bell on the main channel so that like you can really get notified when I put up tutorials, so you're not missing anything. There's a lot of tutorials I have in the back catalog as well. You know, that like I keep mentioning, that if you go to the main VoiceHacks page and you go on playlists, you'll find a lot of my old tutorials. Yes, they're a few years old, and maybe I wasn't as good as filming as I am now, but at the same time, they have a lot of views because the information is still really good. There's still a lot of really good tutorials on my channel that you guys can just learn from for free, like right here on YouTube. So make sure you check that out and like dive into the playlist, because there's probably stuff you're missing that you haven't tried yet and that you haven't even seen yet. So I would encourage that, because there's stuff going back like 3 years of tutorials about how to do this stuff. So let's see. Okay, so someone says that, you know, the confidence question from earlier, that's the barrier for them. I'm telling you, the thing that gave me confidence in singing was preparing. Like, we always, when we're young or new to singing, we underestimate our preparation. I did this all the time, even in college with classical singing, when they were trying to get me to be very serious. But, you know, we're young in college, just out of high school, barely 21 even for most of the time. And so, you know, we're not taking it as seriously as we should, and we need to prepare. I've seen the most professional singers show up and go, oh yeah, I listened to the song all week at work, and then they did not do good at all at the show. They just passively listened to it. They were not actually prepared. They didn't know it cold. They didn't actually know, like, here's 4 beats before I come in. Like, knowing it cold is what's going to give you confidence. And also being aware of your vocal range and moving things into the right key so that you hit all the notes comfortably. So you're not like, am I going to get it? This is preparation and doing the right stuff for your voice. Then you can be pretty sure that you're going to nail it every night. If you don't do those things, it's always going to be a guessing game. And if you're always singing a song that's slightly out of your range, it's only going to be accurate like 50% of the time. And so that's not good either. You're going to always be nervous because you're never going to know, is it going to work? Is it going to come out tonight? So really staying in your lane, kind of, if you will, knowing what keys and ranges and songs to pursue, and being extremely, extremely prepared. Even if you're not the greatest technical singer, if you know it cold, you will feel good and you will give a good performance. So just practice your ass off. Like, I know that there should be magical tips, but I've been doing this a long time, and I can tell you that is the number one thing that changed me, is practicing harder, knowing my material better. And that is just the way it is. It's, you know, it's not easy. You know, anybody you see out there that's like killing it vocally or whatever it is, their body looks like perfect or whatever, there's a story behind it. It's not magic, you know. You might look at someone at the gym and be like, oh, they're so lucky, they look so good, they probably never had to do this and this. But maybe that guy was 300 pounds 2 years ago. I've seen people make dramatic transformations, and in music the same thing. Like, it's almost never magic. In all things, athleticism and music, there's always some person who can just do stuff. Like, there's always the guy, but then there's everyone else in the NBA who had to go to, you know, camps their whole life, and those of us who had to go to music camps their whole life and practice, because that's usually what it takes, is practicing your ass off. The virtuosic players that I know are just practicing a lot and putting a lot of the time into it. And they might have some natural leaning ability that they're expanding upon, but always remember, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So natural talent gets you so far, but if you're lucky to have any natural talent, the practice, you're going to really leverage it. You're going to take it to the next level. So you've got to really put the effort in. It is not magic. There's not a few videos that are just going to make it happen for you. I have tons and tons of students because of that very reason, because it's not how it works. So, hello, someone from France. Hello, how are you? Someone says, why is it easier for me to fry scream in the morning or when I don't warm up first? Someone surmised that it was because of the mucus that builds up on the vocal cords, but it is not. It is because of when you sleep and you lay down, a little bit of blood accumulates in the mucous membranes of the larynx. The cords are like slightly wider, just like your head is like slightly, you know, everything's got to drain out of the head once you start getting up. Some people wake up with like a puffier face. And it's because we're laying down, like everything's sort of pooling. It's not very much, but a lot of like higher voice people, especially who don't have very wide vocal cords, will notice that they can fry scream in the morning. This is something I've heard a bunch of times from the people that I teach and work with. And I've seen it before because wider, fatter, denser cords are easier to compress. But once you stand up and walk around for a few hours, it's going to return to its normal. You'll also find it's easier to sing lower in the morning for the same reason. And what I recommend is you can get a similar result if you just moisturize your cords. You can kind of re-increase the density. It's physically easier to compress more dense, more moisturized cords, and that involves inhaling the moisture. So I've got a couple videos. Once again, the treasure trove of videos right here on the VoiceHacks channel waiting for you guys. There's the steaming trick, and you should do that. Breathe in the steam, the moisture. You can moisturize your vocal cords and make your fry work at other times of the day as well. So have fun with that. Yeah, someone made a really good point on YouTube. They said, I'd like to think that talent means you start at 1 or 2 instead of 0, and then you still have to work your way to 10. Absolutely. That's what I mean by hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. If talent's only putting someone up like to a 3 or 4, and the not as talented person is starting at a 1, as soon as the not as talented person puts enough effort in to get to 3 or 4, if the 3 or 4 is not putting any effort in because they're taking their talent for granted, then the person who was at 1 that's now at 3 or 4 is going to surpass them, and they're going to be at 5 or 6, while natural talent guy is going to still be back at 3 or 4. So, you know, it's not everything. You've got to put it in. And when you see a musician who says, oh, well, I haven't had any training, but they've put out like 10 record albums and toured the world, that is training. That's like practicing a lot. So experience is practice, is time to work on technique. Even people who say they're untrained, you know, that doesn't mean they don't have any practice and that they haven't done millions of takes in the studio and gone on tour and all this stuff. So, you know, it's just kind of something that is the reality of things. Nothing comes easy. And with vocals, there's always more work to be done. I feel like I'm a better vocalist now than I was 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, I was good enough to have stuff out on record labels and stuff. So, you know, you'll always be, with vocals, you want to think of it as like finished, not perfect. You know, it's not possible to like be perfect. All right, you guys, getting down to the last minute here. 10 minutes ago, I said I'd go 10 more minutes. So thanks for joining me today, everybody, on the VoiceHacks channel on YouTube, and also those of you who are kicking it with me on Facebook. Big, huge thanks to Jason and all the folks at Røde Microphones Australia for sending me dope stuff to use in my videos. I'm going to do a video where I'm singing through this and demonstrate some raspier singing vocals. So that's going to come out on YouTube very shortly because I've already been working on that for a minute before I got this bad boy. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. Don't forget to sub. Those of you with questions, I'm going to keep trying to go live. I actually got a handle now on how to do it better. Some of my first live experiences on YouTube were not that great. So now that I have more of a handle on the streaming here, I'm going to do this a little bit more and give you guys some more chances to ask some questions, because I don't get a lot of time to go through the YouTube comments and answer all the questions between all the lessons I give and stuff. So I might get your questions answered if you go through, kind of spend some time on the channel, guys. Go through some of my back catalog of videos. I really do believe it will answer a lot of your questions and kickstart the process for a lot of you. So it's right here if you just dive into it here on YouTube. Facebook, obviously, you guys have to go to YouTube, but you get that. So thanks, everybody, so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you all in my next couple tutorials. I've got some fun stuff coming up this week on YouTube. So bye, everybody. Have a good one.